So I want to welcome you guys to our ministry cohort Zoom called Let's Network. And I just want to introduce myself. I know some of you, and I think I've talked to some of you over email and phone, but my name is Stephanie Ryan, and I am the Kids Ministry Catalyst for the denomination. It's a brand new job role. And so essentially what I'm here for you. And I just want to encourage you, support you, assist you, resource you in whatever ways that we can. But we're going to talk a little bit about that on the call today. And so I live in Clemson. A lot of people think that I work out of Indianapolis, but I don't. I work from home, which is a beautiful gift to me. So I work from Clemson, South Carolina. I have two kids. They're both grown adults. So I'm an empty nester right now and have been married 28 years. I have like three different jobs. So I do Kids Ministry Catalyst. I'm working with Follow Registration, which is a joy but a beast right now. We've got close to 3,000 people registered, so we're super excited about that. And I also write for David C. Cook, the Wonder Inc. curriculum. Raise your hand if you've heard of that. If you haven't, go look at it. It's really amazing. So I write for them and then write for another guy called We Are Kidmin. And so there's great resources on there for you. If you've never looked into We Are Kidmin, I suggest you go and take a look at that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about what's behind today's call. So Santis, everybody knows Santis, right? Yes. Okay. Thumbs up. Okay. So Santis said, Steph, we want to do a book cohort or whatever you want to do. And honestly, I ordered two books and started reading through those, got about halfway through, and I just did not feel that that was the direction that we needed to go. And so I need to let you know that I've sat in your shoes. I know a lot of you are kids ministry pastors and leaders. Some of you are paid staff. Some of you are volunteer staff. Some of you have been in it for a long time. And others of you are just kind of starting. And so I want you to know, first of all, that I know where you are. I was in ministry for 14 and a half years at a church in South Carolina with Alive Wesleyan. I was a kids pastor there, and then have been doing kind of the other jobs that I told you about. I was also a public educator before that. So I understand the role of ministry and the weight that you carry as kids leaders. And I was so excited when Santis talked to me about this new role, Kids Ministry Catalyst, because I felt like kids pastors, we didn't have a connection point, if that makes sense to you. And the reason that I want to kind of start the cohort this way is because I feel like a lot of us don't know each other. We know that they're out there, but we don't know who we are. We don't get the opportunity to connect and talk to each other. So I felt like this was a great opportunity to do that instead of study a book. So here's kind of how I want this to go today. And so I need you to just kind of be real open. So my heart, hello, all of you who are just joining us. If you're just joining us, put your name in the chat with the church you're with, maybe your location, so we can kind of know who's here. So here's my heart behind what I want to do today with y'all. So I want this to be the beginning of something in the denomination for our kids leaders to feel like family. And I want us to be able to have a network where we can call on each other, we can connect with each other, we can provide a safe space to talk to some people or talk with each other. And I want us to be truly great friends in ministry and not feel like, I guess maybe I should ask this as a question. How many have you ever felt like you're on an island and you're by yourself? Yeah. So like, I don't want that. I know ministry is hard and I know the weight that you carry. And so I want you all to feel like there's a place that you can turn to where you can either get answers or you need encouragement or you need someone to pray with you or just share or listen, I want you to know that I'm here for that. And I know everyone on this call would feel the same way. So today's cohort is about sharing and listening. So it's kind of this thing where the rubber meets the road. So I'm actually not going to be talking very much. I'm doing a lot of that right now, but I'm not going to talk much on this call. I actually want you to talk. And so I'm going to open it up. I'm going to ask some questions, and I would love to hear your responses and your thoughts. And then what we're going to do with those is take those responses and turn those into networking cohorts. We're going to provide resources for you so you can feel like, number one, you're heard, and then we have some solutions to some of the problems that you're facing. How does that sound for everybody? Thumbs up? Everybody good with that? Okay. So just a couple things. I know there's, I don't know, maybe like almost 15, 20 people close to that on this call. So a couple things I know, like when a call is small or when a call is large, sometimes we hesitate to share. Truly, quite honestly, I hate Zoom. I'd rather be sitting in a room with you and connecting with you, but this is what we have. And so I ask that you don't hesitate to share. There's someone on this call that is feeling some of the same things that you're feeling and dealing with. And so please share, be open. This is a safe space for you. And then also, this is not a place where we're going to solve the problems today. We just want to be able to provide a space for you to talk and then share resources and work on some of those things later. So with all of that said, I'd love to pray for us and then we can jump in. Anyone have any questions before we start? Everybody ready for this? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pray for us. God, you are so beautiful to us, and we're so grateful for this incredible opportunity that we have to sit in the same room, per se, as a bunch of incredible leaders. And God, I'm so grateful for their heart and their passion and their love for kids and families and for the local church. And so, God, I ask that as we share today and as we process together, God, that you would give us space to be able to just share what's on our hearts and be able to just trust one another in the process and maybe take away some things today that we didn't know or things that we can learn from each other that will make our ministry something that's even more precious to you. We love you so much, and it's in your precious and holy name I pray. Amen. All right, so let's start. So the first one should be easy for you. So let's talk about wins. What are some of your wins right now that you're feeling in your ministry area? Or maybe like I can say it, what's working in your kids' ministry area right now? Maybe you've developed a new system, maybe some things are happening with your students or your kids. Like, let's talk about that. So let's talk about wins and what's working. And go.
I'll start. My name is Bo Hummel. I'm at Dayspring Wesleyan in Marion, Ohio. I've been in ministry for almost 20 years, but I'm just new to kids ministry. So if you ask me in college or seminary if I'd be doing kids ministry at 46 years old, I thought you're nuts. So I'm learning right now too. I have my own kids, but this is a little different. New wins for us right now. We're just in a great season of growth right now that we can't explain at our church. But one thing we just added, the two most difficult transitions we have found in ministry is when kids leave youth ministry and try to navigate into the full body. So we had started a young adult ministry, but that's not what we're here for. The other difficult one was from kids ministry to youth ministry, that fifth grade to sixth grade movement. We usually lose a lot of kids or they're just fish out of water that they cause so much disruption in the youth group that it was hard on the older kids. So we've added last year we did add a fourth and fifth grade small group to try to help kids learn small group settings in a more chaotic way so they know what they're getting into next year. And this year we pulled down sixth graders. So on one night a week, the sixth graders are with the older teens when it's more fun night. But when it's more of the serious small group night, they come back and join us because they had 1 foot in with the people they knew and 1 foot in with the people they're getting to know as they still keep learning this small group mentality. So they're kind of in both right now, but works. It's fun because we're experiencing a lot of kids who actually want to come and be a part of small groups, and they're just fourth, fifth, and sixth graders right now. So they're learning that, and they're in with some adult leaders who will be their leaders in the older setting as well. So they will know some people moving forward. So that's been the win, especially since we have about 24 kids coming on a weekly basis and 80% of them are boys, which is really weird too. So that's a win right now.
That's amazing. That's like a very hard age bracket to reach. So awesome. Love it.
All
So
right, well, I'll go next. My name is Paul McGregor. I'm the family life pastor in Roanoke, Penn Forest Wesleyan Church in Roanoke, Virginia. Um, Actually, I am for a couple of wins. The last month, um, I've been on sabbatical. I've been at the church for 11 years, and um, I don't know how many of you know this, but for those of us that are full time, the discipline recommends every 7 years that we take a sabbatical. So my turn was this year. And I've been enjoying it, but my win is that I've got a great team. I do everything children's ministry at our church. I mean, I lead children's church every Sunday, every Wednesday night. I mean, I have some people that help me, but I was kind of nervous about being away for a month, but I got a lot of people that jumped in, and everything's been going great. And so I think that's something that can continue when I come back. So maybe I won't have to do so much on my own. The other win is when I come back the Sunday I come back, we're baptizing 6 kids. So I'm excited
yay.
about that. So, yeah, so that's it. That's it for me.
Oh, I don't know you, but your face is glowing. Sabbatical is a
I'm
good thing.
outside because
Listen,
I was out on my bike.
I love it. I took
I
a
stopped
sabbatical too,
because it was
and
time for
it
the meeting.
changes you. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Glad you got to do that. Next.
Well, I'm Corey Hernsberger at Remley Wesleyan Church in Urbana, Virginia. Recently, we've had a couple kids get baptized. That the church has been praying for them for a long time and their family, and so they made a decision to get baptized. And the youth group is growing sporadically. I mean, there's weeks we have good attendance, and there's weeks we have not so good, but they're coming, they're hungry, and we've implemented actually 2 new Sunday school type of groups for those, I would say, the middle school age and and up to 13, I think, kind of like your preteen in a way. So we've implemented those classes during Sunday school time. Those are a couple wins that I can
Awesome.
think of.
I love the baptism stories. One of my favorite parts about ministry. Who's next? These are awesome. If you're just joining us, we're talking about what's working in your kids' ministry. What are some of your wins? What does that look like for you guys?
I guess I'll go. This is kind of a win, but it's also kind of a cool kind of story too. So, um, at our church, we had a sister church, or not a sister church, but a local church that um, was struggling with rent. Their rent had like doubled, and they were a small church as it is. So, we kind of partnered with them, and we're kind of a church inside of a church. It's a Haitian church in our area. So, at first we were a little uncertain of how that was going to work, but we decided to kind of change the schedule of what they were doing and to allow their kids to be able to come to our service in the morning. And there's a little bit of a language barrier, so we were worried that that might be an issue, but it is really, it's been a cool experience just to see the kids just really come together, and they've started becoming friends. And, because it was kind of scary for those kids that, they kind of were displaced from their church, their actual location. and come into a new environment, come into new people. But it's been really cool. We've really seen God work some cool ways and how that partnership's kind of come together. So that's kind of, I guess, a cool win, I guess you could
It's
say.
an awesome win, Travis. I love it. Travis is bivocational, right? You're a public educator and in ministry on the weekends. Anyone else bivocational? Okay. Yep. Anyone else? What are some things working for you?
We have our trunk or treat this Sunday. And our church has always responded really well to it, but I put out a goal of 50 trunks, which would be the most that we have ever had at our church. We have 54. So I'm personally super pumped about it. Now, I counted parking spaces where we typically have it yesterday morning, and there's only 46. So I've got to figure that out. My goal surpassed our means, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. But I'm just pumped for this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for you.
Thanks.
We'll take a couple more people and then we'll move on.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Hi, Christine Phillips from Parkway Wesleyan in Roanoke, Virginia.
Yes.
I mainly do early childhood, but I'm a part of the whole Next Gen team. And Bo, like you mentioned, those big transitions from high school to college, from elementary school to middle school, or even that preteen, we've seen the exact same thing over years. And we've been really strategic about having really good programming. We opened up a whole preteen ministry, started with a handful of kids right as COVID ended, and they're averaging over 40 something in our preteen ministry and feeding directly into our middle school. We've got like 60 something insane middle schoolers taking over on Wednesday nights and feeding directly into high school. There's just people on people on people around here. That's really
great. I love it. One more person and then we'll jump into the harder stuff. Anyone else?
My win has been
go ahead.
in a smaller, has been like in a smaller capacity. We have a Christian school here, and so it makes it really hard sometimes to encourage the kids to invite friends, because all of their friends have, if they don't go to church here, they're supposed to be at a church somewhere else. But I have a little girl in 4th grade who her family ended up putting her, they moved, so she's now in a different school. And the last 2 weeks, every Sunday and every Wednesday, she's brought a friend. And this past Sunday, the friend brought the mom and the younger brother. And so here's this family that is fully coming at the invitation of this 4th grade girl who just always just wanted to invite people, and really wasn't in a place where she was surrounded by people to invite. And so that's just been really cool to see.
Love it. Thank you, Elizabeth. Did you want to say something, Shelley?
Sure, I can. So I jumped in to this team about 1.5 years ago as the children's pastor at Crossroads in Michigan. And we, like Bo, we added a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade kind of ministry. And what's been really cool to watch this last school year happen is this group of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders have become they've become family. They've become their own group, and they're bringing up energy. And now the 3rd graders are excited to jump into 456 and in this group, and it's been awesome. But what we did was we added camp in the summer for them. So our upcoming 4th, 5th, and 6th graders in the following year come to camp the week that I'm chaplain at a summer camp nearby, and they just love it. And what's really cool about it is throughout the year, we have a few different fundraisers. And if they work at the fundraiser, they can get a portion of what we made. And there's just so much energy and excitement toward camp that they just can't wait for the next year. So
I love it. Camp changes kids. I love camp. I know there's several people on here that are over their camps. And I can't say enough about camp. I just adore it. So awesome, Shelley. I love to hear that. So let's jump into the next question, and this is kind of more where the rubber meets the road a little bit. And so let's talk about what's not working in your ministry area. What are you struggling with, or what are the things that you wish that someone could help you with? That you're like, this is a system that's messed up, or I'm not getting anywhere with this. I need help with this. What are some of those in your ministry areas that you're really just having a hard time with, that's not working? And listen, it's okay to admit that too. I know some of us don't want to share that because you feel like, why can't I make this happen? But I guarantee there's people on the call that are feeling some of the same things. So let's talk.
I'll start again.
Thanks,
My issue is me and how I'm wired. I am good with pastoral care. So as far as knowing all the kids' names and getting into their worlds and relating to the parents, that's a strength of mine. Just being charismatic and energetic, that's a strength of mine. Where I am very, very weak is administratively. And where I see that the most is the equipping. I can affirm and encourage all my workers and make them feel like $1,000,000. But as far as the energy and the know-how of how to equip them to make them feel more and more competent, I know it's a leadership skill issue that I haven't developed yet, and it's not in my DNA. So that's where we have plenty of volunteers, and we're pretty good at maintaining and keeping our volunteers, but it's equipping them and empowering them and making them feel like they have ownership of the program.
Okay. A great word.
I was going to say that too. Like, volunteers is probably my biggest issue. And I think our issue is we're kind of a smaller church. I mean, we under 100 on average, but it's finding consistent volunteers that I can rely on. We have an older population that's kind of said, been there, done that kind of thing. That time has passed. I mean, I'm like Bo, like, I feel like I'm pretty good with the energy and stuff. It's just attracting them to want to participate and be involved. I've done like, just one-on-one asks just from, observations and stuff. And it's just getting them over the line to actually want to actually be involved, I guess, if that makes sense. Like just ways of promoting. We do like VIPs in the morning. We're trying to interact with the full body of the church on a regular basis. It's just getting that traction to get someone in there is what I'm struggling with. So any suggestions? I'm kind of like Bo, I'm new to this as well. I'm from the student ministry realm, so I'm up for any ideas.
Yeah, volunteers are always hard. One of the hardest. I was just telling a kids pastor yesterday, she's like 3 weeks in, and I said volunteers will always be your hardest battle. So yeah, I hear that. Not solving it today, but this is very helpful. Anyone else?
For me, it's curriculum right now. We so when I came on, they pretty much had no kids ministry anymore after COVID. Before COVID, we were running like 80 kids or 40 kids at each service, so 80 total. And when I came on, it was like maybe 20 total. And so they didn't really have much of a curriculum, and they had like a team of volunteers running the ministry. And so we brought in a curriculum. We're using Explore the Bible from Lifeway right now, and it's great. Like the content is awesome, the resources are awesome, but what we're finding is it seems to be a bit over the kids' heads, and every curriculum I've looked at seems to be either way over the kids' heads from what it used to be. Like 4 years ago, what is I'm using for second and third graders now would have been fine, but it's seeming too complicated right now. And then, or it's just too broad and it's the same curriculum for kindergarten through fifth grade. And you just can't do that. So that's been our biggest struggle at the moment. We're doing it and we're adjusting things based on what we need to do for our kids and for our teachers. But that's been the biggest struggle.
But you don't love it. Like you're not excited about it.
We love the content. We love what it's offering. It's just some of the activities and some of the language is just a bit over the head. So it takes a lot of extra creativity. But like the other options that I'm seeing that are easier or a little bit more geared toward their age groups are not fun, they're not exciting, or they're teaching the same thing for kindergarten to third grade, and it's too much for kindergartners and it's not enough for third grade, and becoming this complicated thing. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Can I say something real quick, Stephanie?
Go ahead.
On the curriculum that I just wanted to let her know, and anyone else, because a lot of people might not know about this resource. Someone turned me on to it, and it's just amazing. It's Kid Spring, and if you just Google it, Kid Spring, it's through Open Life Church, but they offer all their curriculum materials completely free, and the level of the quality and the professionalism of it is just unbelievable. And we've been using that a lot, and I mean, I tell everyone about it that I can, because it's completely free. So called Kid Spring, and you might want to, anyone that's interested, just check that out.
Thank you so much. That's such a great word. We're working on, I know I promised you guys a resource list, so this might be a good time to tell you, like a month ago. We are waiting on one thing before we can release it. The Wesleyan Publishing House is working on a kind of an exciting thing right now, and I can't tell you about it, but so we're waiting on that to be finalized before we can put out the resource list, so you guys have everything that you need. But with that statement about Kid Spring, this resource list will have curriculum, it will have places you can go online, it has a little bit of everything. So I hope that'll be valuable to you. As a little bit, Shelly, you struggle a little bit with curriculum, it'll give you some ideas of maybe some others that you could look at as well that could supplement that a little bit. Anyone else? What's not working? What are you struggling with?
Along with the curriculum thing, for a while, as I mentioned to you, Stephanie, I've gone through so many different things, trying out different curriculums, seeing what works and what doesn't work. But someone, I forget who had mentioned it, the Bible Engagement app has, comparing it to a lot of others, and as far as the layout is almost identical to Wonder Inc., to all these other programs out there, and it's on your phone too. So you don't have to worry about printing anything if you don't want to, which is an added resource that a lot of other apps you have to print everything. This has it all here, identical to the printout, which will have the slides and videos and stuff according to that. So that's a free app altogether.
Okay.
And it's actually for young adults, for all ages.
Awesome. I have not heard of that. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, and I'm one who's been looking at. I love free stuff too, and if we can take advantage of free stuff,
yes,
before we have to pay for it, and then go from there, gives you more options to see how it flows with your ministry in general too.
Agree, 100%. I like free.
And the one thing that before COVID, the kids were really into worshiping and singing and dancing and stuff. To a lot of the music. Since COVID, kids don't get up and do anything during the music time and stuff. They just kind of sit there and I don't play music, I don't sing music, so I rely on videos to do all that. I kind of teach them the motions, but that's about so that's the one downside for me, is wish they would be more engaged in.
I hear you on that. Especially those older boys, I think it's a struggle sometimes for most of us. Okay. Anything else? Just another minute or two on this question. Don't want to miss the big things that we can come back to at another time.
would say one of my biggest frustrations is just going back to the volunteer thing. Like, we have a good handful of them. I've got some that are just 100% bought in. And then you have those who, when they're on the schedule, you're going to get a text that week. Like even yesterday, it was like, hey, we're going to be camping this weekend. Can you switch me? I'm like, no, I can't. So I think it's that for me. It's just you know, maybe the letdown of like, hey, you're on the schedule. I think it's all fine. And then just the constant, I can't serve this week. I'm doing this other thing. So
I think on the volunteer things, I heard like the engagement level's low. Finding volunteers is still hard, especially after COVID. There's a lack of commitment. Am I correct in saying those things? Consistency are struggles, and just trying to figure out how to keep them engaged so we don't lose them. Am I right in those?
I think my problem is above that even. It's just
Okay.
how to, you're not being a systems person. I think a lot of us, maybe not a lot, in smaller ministry settings, we're pastors. So we're pastoral, we're relational. And there it seems to be a difference between being a leader, which kind of can be disconnected and more administrative and systems oriented. And it feels awkward and kind of cold, and it's not energizing in the least. When you're energized by, whether introvert or extrovert, when you're energized by being in the relational part of ministry, especially when you get into a growing kids program and you have a growing volunteer base. Yes, keeping them organized, having the back. So if you have the people, and it's the same for us too. They call like, oh, we're camping this week. I've had that just 2 weeks ago. And you get the call the day before. And I know they knew before the day before. But it's having the backup systems. For me, it's been just getting the mindset that this is not my ministry. This is God's. I do what I can with the skills that I have. And if someone drops out last minute, we're going to figure it out, but God's bigger. And you can, it sounds like an excuse, and I think I can learn to do more, but it's learning how to be a person who can deal with systems. I think that's where mine comes in.
That's great, Bo. Great word. Yeah, these are awesome. Okay, so I think we could spend a lot more time on this. Let's keep going because we've got a couple more questions. So everybody good still? Feeling like you're gathering some good information here? So the next question is a little different. What's missing? What do you wish you had that you currently don't, that would help you? Maybe it goes back to what we just talked about, some of the things that aren't working or that you're struggling with. But is there anything else that would be missing in your ministry area that you're like, oh, if I only knew how to do this, or if I had this in place, I feel like that would help me catapult this other thing to the next level. What does that look like for you guys?
I think like, I don't know if this makes sense or not, but we're like on the cusp of like moving up to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as our growth, but it seems like we just plateau. Like I don't, and that's the thing. I don't know what we need to help us get to that next level. I don't know if it's like because like right now we have like what is our big house is like K5 to fifth grade. We have our preschool. Volunteer wise, we don't have enough to have like a ones and twos kind of room, or twos to threes, whatever. So I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it's just like we're like maxing out right there. We're plateauing and we can't like get up to that next level, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It does make sense. Yes, it does make sense. Thank you. What else is missing?
Sometimes space can just be an issue. And you want to give kids their own space, but when you have to use closets for rooms, and getting snug in your worship areas, and you have boys that just want to run and they have no space to run. So, and just not having enough early childhood space to make parents feel like it's safe for the kids to be in the rooms.
Great.
I would echo that, though. We when our church was built, it was built very Sunday school classroom style, kind of on the outside of our sanctuary. And there's only one classroom left that I have not overtaken for kids ministry. So the adults know it's coming at some point because we're busting out of the seams in some of our spaces. So yeah, Bo, you're definitely not alone in that. I promise you. But it's like trying to be creative with the walls that you have. I mean,
right.
Our walls are only the walls. Like we've already taken down one, but we really can't take down too many more. So yeah.
I can see that being a major issue, especially when you have growth. What do you do? And unless you split classes and then you need more volunteers and we're back at the volunteer problem. Like it's just a cyclic mess and pattern. I get that. Yeah, I hear it. Okay, what else?
My name's Alyssa. Sorry, I joined a little bit late,
Alyssa.
but hi. I think for me, something that I don't have, but I feel like would be really helpful is like a specific like kids leadership team, like around me, even to I don't know, just have another set of eyes, some more input, and even I guess just knowing how to do that, and then how to continue to like keep it running, and even just to keep it healthy and productive rather than just like another thing to go to.
Yes, I love that. Excellent. Yeah, for sure.
To kind of piggyback off of that, for me, it's been somebody in like each area of age groups that's like an intern or somebody to just kind of help handle some of the office stuff. Because like Bo was saying, like I'm a pastor, so I'm doing the director and managing and the pastoral side. So having somebody to kind of take some of that administrative stuff is what I'm hoping for. And then space too, because all of our classrooms are also small group rooms. They're also Sunday school rooms. They're everything. And they're our staff offices, as you could tell. So it's everything. So yeah.
Thank you. These are great, you guys. Anything else? I have so many ideas in my head right now. I'm excited to hear all this stuff. What else? Anything else that's missing, or what you wish you had, or what you wish you knew? Or for those of you that came on late, we're going to take a lot of these discussions and kind of like see where they all kind of align. And then that's how we'll create our spring cohorts and do some resourcing that way as well. Maybe give some stuff like to your district to be able to help serve you guys in that way. So these conversations are really valuable. Anything else that's missing? Don't want to.
I think for me, it's learning how to better equip our parents, parent resources, and we use Wondering too, which I love their, parent resources or whatever, but getting the parents to actually engage in it and to want to do that with their kids is the hard part.
Yes, I agree.
Great. I think for one of our big struggles, the thing it was echoed, so I didn't say anything, is the volunteers. And so we may have them and the age-old struggle, but I think what we need is the development of those leaders so that we don't see that just drop. I think what we're missing is the pouring into and developing the people that we do have volunteering, turning them from just somebody who sits with my 4-year-olds giving them goldfish to somebody who's not relying on me to build the relationship with the kids that they're doing it.
Yeah, how to teach people to lead, actually. Yeah, I think I heard that from like Bo and Travis as well. Awesome. Anyone else before we jump to the next question? Hey, Priscilla.
Hello.
These are all incredible.
So this was kind of like a combination of those last two questions of like the struggle and like what is missing. But like for all of our other programming times, we have small groups, but during morning worship, they are all together, partially because of space and because of volunteer, all the elementary are together, which I really like that there is this time for kindergarten through fifth grade to come together. But I have been blessed with a large group of kindergartners this year, which I have not had the last couple of years. But it has drastically changed that dynamic. And so it's like what I think like what's missing for me is trying to find balance within that of not losing my fourth and fifth graders, having volunteers who can help, I don't want to say manage the kindergartners, but kind of like can help keep them engaged so that I'm not having to do that, not having to ask the volunteers to do that. So some of them do that really well and some of them don't. And so I think that's kind of been where I've been at the last little bit.
Yeah, that's raise your hand or give a thumbs up or whatever if your ministry is K through fifth that you're working with, like in a large group setting. Okay, so yeah, we hear you, girl. We understand that. Yeah, it's a great point. All right, let's go to the next question. There's 2 more questions and then we'll be done. So this one is a little more personal. So again, safe space, we're family, we're depending on each other, and we're trying to create this network together. So how are you doing? So let's talk about mental health a little bit and your job. And I went through some pretty tough times near the end of when I was at my ministry role and went through some major burnout. And I can share my story with you on another time. But because of that, it's really made me very aware of the mental health and the personal side of ministry for leaders. And so I'd love to talk about that for a little bit. How are you? If you don't mind sharing, how is your health? How are you resting? Are you finding struggles in that where you feel like you can't? What does that look like for you guys? And this is a family question. So if you don't mind answering, I totally understand if you don't.
I think mine being from the bivocational kind of arena is just time. Like there's so much I would love to do. There's so much I would like to do. I just do not have the time. And I'm trying to better manage that as far as like making sure my family time that's kind of kept separate, and my actual job, I have to make sure that time, things like this, like, finding the time, like right now I'm on my lunch break, kind of thing. So
And
it's
you're
just
doing
trying,
another job.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So just trying to balance all that.
Yeah.
Because I was in youth ministry and I kind of just filled in when we had someone that left, and then I just fell in love with it. And then same thing with kids ministry. We had a need. There was a need for it, and then I kind of stepped into that need and fell in love with it again. So I guess I'm doing good. It's just I feel like I'm not doing as much as I could be, and trying to find those that around me that I can kind of empower. And like I know somebody was talking about a leadership team, and giving up that control is hard, but also it's hard when you see that they're not quite as capable of taking on that as you would like to, if that makes sense. So I don't know. Time is like, I feel like where I'm struggling with trying to create that
Yeah.
time that's needed.
Yeah. Great word. Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree with that. Not being bivocational for 13 plus years and stuff, doing this and trying to, everyone wants me to be everywhere else, but again, you have no time for yourself because you got your full-time job, you got your, and I'm a content creator on top of everything else. plus my job at the church. So I was like, and spend time with my wife as well. So I was like trying to find that time to even squeeze in anything, and then lesson planning on top of it, which is why curriculum has become so helpful, because it's less planning for the bivocational ones, but we had to find time to study that. We can't just show up Saturday night at 10 p.m. studying the lesson for church the next day. We have to at least know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And not being burned out too.
Yeah. Those are all legitimate things for sure. Anyone else?
It's pretty, I can echo all the same things. It's a struggle. I just came on full time after several years of working part time and homeschooling my kids. And so I've taken on 3 roles here at the church, which is amazing and so much fun. And I'm working on managing all the time so that all the things get done. But all those things that I did for all those years at my house that kept me from being here full time are all still there. So the balance and the rest, whew, there is no rest. But and that middle schooler has gotten wise to the fact mom's not watching. So it's a balance and it's a struggle right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Christine.
I think there's a conversation about seasons of life too. When you're a pastor and you have the young ones, there's no time to go home and rest. Now with my youngest being 14, my oldest being 21, who's struggling, that the raising older kids is a different hard. It's not a exhausting physically hard. It's an emotionally exhausting hard, because you're now the influencer and you're not the controller in their life. So finding some extra hobbies outside, which you kind of have time for now with the older kids, they can kind of manage themselves in the evenings every now and then. It's been really helpful for me. I do a lot of officiating of sports, which kind of gives me sanity. But now the strain is worry of the older kids, that you're doing your work here, but that's still at home and you have no control of them anymore. And it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm an empty nester, so I get that too. And then there's people probably on the call that have littles that literally, I mean, it's completely opposite world. Like it's a lot. I get it.
I will say so. Well, right now I'm doing great, but
oh,
I will
shut
say,
up.
leading up to this sabbatical, which again, if you're full time and you don't know about that, talk to your pastor about it, because it is in the discipline every 7 years. But I was just feeling horrible health wise, and I was convinced there was something wrong with me. I was going to the doctor, and they're like, "No, everything's fine. All your tests look good." And then this came, and even before I sabbatical, I was really into biking and um, getting outdoors, hiking, and that kind of stuff. But for the last year or so, I hadn't been doing it very much. In the last month or so, I mean, things just got so busy, and then I realized after I got out and had some time and started getting active again, oh, I feel fine. So that really is a big thing. Make sure you're getting out, find something, if, maybe, outdoor kind of stuff isn't your thing, but find something to get active and that you enjoy doing. Also, if you don't know about our district's big on Full Strength Network. It's
Yes.
a resource for pastors. Actually, our district was paying for the pastors to join. It's an amazing resource. They will provide you with 12 counseling or coaching appointments, cohorts to join. There's a list on there, but I believe this list is also on the Wesleyan website that you can access for free. If you don't know, there are all kinds of places, retreat centers and bed and breakfast and places that will offer free or reduced rates, significantly reduced rates for pastors to get away and take a break. So yeah, make sure you get your time, because it's mental health, and that's all very important.
Yes. Listen to the man that's on the sabbatical. He has said everything true. Yes, I agree with everything he said. Full Strength Network is incredible. If you don't know about that, reach out to me and I can help provide that information to you. It's saved me in the last 3 years for sure. So these are beautiful conversations. I love them. I want to ask one more question and then we'll go. How can we best support you in like multiplication discipleship in next gen world? What can we do? There's this disconnect, I'm afraid, not in a way that anybody is doing, but it's this disconnect of headquarters in the local church, I think sometimes, that you just don't know who to ask or where to go or what to ask. And so we want to be that for you. And so hear my heart to say, like, if you need things, we want to help with that. So what are some ways that we can best support you? What are some things that we've talked about what you need, and I've got a mountain of notes on our conversation today, but is there anything else that you can think of that we could provide for you that would help your ministry area or you personally?
I want to tell you something. I am so happy here. Everyone's to be all kind these things. I'm so happy and thank you. But I'm minister. I'm the pastor in around 18 years in Plainfield, New Jersey. This is a Spanish congregation. But I'm so happy this time because when I started just only in English group. I'm sorry, in Spanish group. In those years, God is good. The kids growing. Now they speak English. And they are now the kid, was the kid. Now is I have 20 years or 19 years. Age was in the church for many years. They now leader for kids. It made me so happy because God give us to the what I can explain you that Holy Spirit work in the church, and they can give everyone's all. They prepare for the future because I didn't know what is happening, especially when coming. Everybody in home, everybody disconnect just only for like the Zoom. But when we come back, that is good experience for me. God help us because we was connection anyway with Zoom. And now we have the kids, not too many, but a leader is from the church. They was in the church and growing in the church. And I'm very appreciative also. I need more information, what more I can resort I need, the books or something. And thank you so much for inviting me, Stephanie, for this group. And thank you, hear you, everyone.
Thank you so much. That's such a great comment. And essentially you're saying that if we could provide resources to you to help you resource your leader, that would be helpful. Is that what you said? Yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
I think for me, I'm really excited for the curriculum stuff, or like the resource page and stuff to go live and have access to that. I know that within the NC West district, like our kids pastors meet on a pretty regular basis, and we like to share like, oh, hey, I did this cool Advent or Christmas or Lent or summer activity. And then kind of just like sending those things to each other and sharing them. And so I think for me, like it's something that I know it's coming. But I know at least for me, I love that, and finding things that don't matter if you're at a church that has, 10, 15, 20 kids or 80 kids or 100 kids or however many. things that can be adaptable. I looked over the Glow event a little bit, and excited to probably do that at some point. That was sent out a few weeks ago. So I just love the idea of having groups like this where we can resource there or point people in directions of here's some curriculums I've heard about, or here's a resource, here's a book that I read that could be helpful to you. I think the connection amongst other people who know what it's like to be in this role is just invaluable.
Agree. I love it.
For me, it's just making sure or getting connected and knowing what's going on. I just randomly scrolled and happened to even see that this was a thing. So I was like, oh my goodness, something for me that's not high school. Yay. So just and having an opportunity to get connected and knowing what's going on from, outside. We're not even very connected with our district, unfortunately. So I don't even really hear a lot. So it's just being able to get the communication and hear about it is super helpful.
Did you get an email from me, Christy?
No, I randomly scrolled through Facebook and saw it in the Next Gen Facebook group and went, oh, that's for me.
So I'm going to give my email. If you don't have that, y'all write it down. Christine, I want you to send me an email so I can make sure and add you. My email is Rhynes, RHYNES @Wesleyan.org. And Priscilla's so beautiful. She just put it in the chat for us. So please let me know if you didn't. I'm sending out emails regularly, or however, when we have stuff coming up, just to keep you guys in the know. So I want to make sure y'all are on that list. This has been literally amazing. I want to tell you a couple things. One, if you're not part of the Next Gen Multiplication Discipleship Facebook group, please go on Facebook and like that and get on there, because that's where we kind of post what's coming up. So our cohorts run there. We've had some conversations, and I'd love to see I don't know, I'm not asking for a vote, but what y'all think about this. Possibly a Wesleyan Facebook Kids Ministry page. I'm not sure if that's something you guys would think was valuable or not. I mean, if you don't feel like it is, please be honest. Would you use it? Yes, no, yes, possibly. Okay. So we're just kind of processing that a little bit to see if that would be something that would be helpful to you guys to connect with leaders in the denomination. We already talked about the resource list, which is coming out real soon. Like I said, we're waiting on something from Publishing House. So I'm hoping to have that to you guys in the next week or so. And then the last thing I want to make sure you know is we're working really hard to gather Advent resources. I was hoping to write them, and then things happened in my family where my dad passed away, and I just could not do that at that time. And so I've received some Advent resources from some of you actually on this call, and some others that aren't, that we're trying to gather and then put out hopefully within the next week. So you can have some stuff that's already done and been used in years past, and can kind of pick from some of those. So that's our hope. If you have anything that you've used in the past that you want to share with me, if you could email that to me before the end of this week, that would be great. And that way we could maybe try to add some of that to our stuff. So that's kind of what I have. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. It's so nice to meet you all. Again, I wish we were in the same room together. I'm a hugger, so I would have rather been with you. But I think this is a great beginning to knowing each other and understanding each other. And if you need anything, if you need emails for people in this group and you want to connect with specific people, I can give those out if you guys are okay with that. If you need just to vent to someone to pray with you, if you have questions, please, please, please email me, and I can give you my number, and I can talk through whatever you want to. So any other further thoughts before we pray and we're going to go? Was this helpful for you? No? Good. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to pray for us, and then we'll go, and then we'll be back together hopefully sometime in the spring. God, you are so good. We love you. Thank you for this conversation and the ability to just share where we are, share our hearts, what's on our minds. And I'm sure there's so much that wasn't even said. But God, we thank you for this opportunity, and we pray that we would take what we've learned today and just turn it into something that can be resourceful and helpful to so many, not just to strengthen us as leaders, but to strengthen the homes of the children and the families that we have the opportunity to impact every single week. God, we can't get off this call before we stop and we pause and we pray for our kids and their moms and their dads and their friends that are in school sitting beside them and their teachers. God, we love them, and we know you love them more. And so we lift our kids to you. We lift their hearts to you. We lift their minds, their salvation. God, the things that they're battling, their mental health and their struggles, Jesus, would you just be their center point and their presence today, wherever they are? I pray over these incredible people on this call, God, that you would strengthen them, that you would affirm in them their calling, even today in some way. I pray if they're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, God, that you would give them a new strength and that you would lift them up in a way that they would be able to just be still in front of you and experience your holy presence. We just love you so much, and it's an honor to be in your presence. In your beautiful name, I pray. Amen. Y'all, so great to be with you today. Thank you for being here, and just be looking for emails from me for the future, okay? See y'all.